Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Null from Retro Null. It's your boy John. How's it going? I hope you guys are all doing good. Welcome to another episode of Pixel Patrol. Today, we're going to be talking about the backlog. I hope you guys are all doing good, though. I hope you guys are all playing games, doing everything you guys need to do. It's another Saturday, which means another Pixel Patrol. Let's get into what I'm playing right off the rip. I've been playing Street Fighter 6. Just grinding away, figuring out combos as Luke, waiting for that next what's the word I'm looking for? DLC to hit, waiting for Rashid to drop, just practicing, getting good. Next up, I've been playing the new Fortnite season, just kind of grinding out missions. I'm still having fun there. It's still a lot of fun playing that game, just kind of like for an hour or two here or there, doing the missions. A lot of fun. I like playing Fortnite a lot. Sue me. Oh, also really quick, I want to get into a quick rant. I'm not trying to move super fast through the episode, but this is going to be a shorter one, probably around 30 or so minutes, I would guess, just because, there's not too much to talk about today. So don't, you guys can already see the time of the video when you click it, but it's a little shorter one. I hope that's okay with everybody. Also, before I forget, I want to ask you guys if you get a chance to please check out the second channel. They're doing a Pixelmon playthrough over there, and people are seeming to enjoy it. Thank you guys for all your support over there. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please, give it a look on Retro Null Plays. I have a link to it in the description, as well as the channel sidebar on the main channel. So give that a peek if you would like. But anyways, let's get back into it. Street Fighter 6, Fortnite, we've already talked about those. I beat Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I clocked in around 90 hours. I did every shrine and I did every main quest. I beat the story and got the secret ending. And it was good. Tears of the Kingdom is definitely my favorite game of all time. It's up there. It beat Breath of the Wild for me. It was way more fun. So I would put Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at my #1 game of all time. My only issue that I have with the game is I think that there's almost too much to do. I think the depths it's interesting. I like the depths, but it's just, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of incentive to explore the depths and find as much as you can, but it's also a lot, and it can be overwhelming to do the skies, the depths, the surface. There's so much to the game, but I mean, you're really getting your value out of it, but it's just a lot. And I mean, like, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. But you really get a bang for your buck. It's really worth it. I clocked in around 90 hours. I found every shrine. I walked around the map, like counterclockwise, doing temples. And then along the way, I would explore each quadrant doing all the shrines. I ended up only missing 30 shrines. And like 7 of them were in the sky. So I missed around 23 shrines on the surface. And all of them were like cave shrines pretty much, or just like secret shrines or quest shrines. So I did a lot of it by myself without any help, but I did look up a map of the other ones to find the ones I needed. So yeah, but the reward for finding all the shrines is worth it. If you guys are debating whether or not you should do that, I would take a minute, and by a minute, I mean hours of your life, and do all the shrines. It's definitely worth it. You get a cool thing for doing it. So I'm glad I did that. I liked the game a lot. I feel like 90 hours is reasonable compared to Breath of the Wild. There's a reasonable amount of time to beat it. So yeah, I give the game my personal rating of like a 9.5 out of 10. But I think critically it's around there anyways. So I definitely think it's like a modern masterpiece. This game's amazing. But because we're done with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I'm going to start back up Kakarot, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We're going to play that game. It's a RPG about Dragon Ball. I dropped off around the Frieza saga, and the last mission I did was when Captain Ginyu and Goku switched bodies. So that was the last thing I did. Definitely got to pick back up, but I'm not too far in the story. I still can remember a lot of it. I've seen the story of Dragon Ball a million times. So I'm just going to have to like relearn the controls, relearn all that stuff, and it should be pretty easy to get back into the swing of things for Kakarot. I'm also playing Minecraft Pixelmon on the second channel. Been playing that for a couple weeks now. Gonna try to survive 151 days. We're at day 20 or so now, so it's going pretty good. The goal is to get 16 gym badges and to catch a legendary. So we're gonna see how that ends up going. So far, it's not going too great, but we're gonna start like hard rushing gyms and towns soon. So be ready for that. It's gonna be awesome. Minecraft Pixelmon Let's Play has been a lot of fun. So let's get into the backlog. Like I said, this is gonna be a shorter one. It might even be shorter than 30 minutes, honestly. But everyone's got a backlog. I have a backlog. And my goal this year was to tackle as much of the backlog as I could in a way that I would find fun. So I themed my backlog mission, and that's something I want to talk about. So, setting goals for yourself while playing your backlog and everything can make it so even completing the backlog is fun. Everyone kind of stresses out about it, about having not enough time or getting sick of a game, and I feel like talking about what you can do to minimize the amount of time you're spending like just grinding out your backlog, it shouldn't feel like a grind. It should feel like you're having fun, and I want to talk about ways to make your backlog fun and also get the satisfaction of knocking a game off of it. Because for me, I love keeping lists and keeping track of what I've beaten, what I've played. I have a whole list on my phone of every game I've beaten and like cleared this year and how long I played it. And for me, that's fun. It's a fun way for me to keep track of my backlog. And, every time I get to knock a game off the backlog list and mark it as beaten, it's like a cool little moment because you're one game closer to finishing your backlog. And I'm nowhere close to finishing my backlog, but I've themed this year. I've themed what I'm going to do, and I have a plan to tackle my backlog, and that's what we're going to talk about. So I think the first thing you need to do is just set goals for yourself while playing games and having your backlog, like play your game however you want to play your game, but like if you can get to a certain point within the week, or you can get a certain just make little goals for yourself and achieve goals, because it makes achieving those little goals, getting to the grander goal of completing that game makes, it just makes things fun. Like throughout Tears of the Kingdom, I was doing shrines and getting weapons and stuff like that, and every time I could get a new heart container, I was like, okay, I want to get like 3 heart containers. I'd get 3 heart containers. I'd be like, okay, that's my goal. I achieved it. Like, I'm good. So, it's just setting those goals while you're playing, or having an idea of where you want to get to. I want to complete 3 missions in Resident Evil today, or I don't know how Resident Evil works, but you know what I'm saying. I want to complete 3 missions in this game, or I want to play for a couple hours in this game. Just set goals for yourself and make time for yourself. If you work 10 hours a day like I do, then after work, play games for an hour to 2 hours after work. You know what I mean? If you can afford to have the time, just try to carve out that time for yourself while also having a healthy home life and stuff like that. Just because it is a lot, and I don't have kids or anything like that. So, I can come home, we can eat, I can, feed the dogs, let the dogs out, you know what I mean? Let them have some time out while I'm playing. And it's kind of like a dual thing right there, is while my dogs are out, I can play the game while they're out and get my time in. Stuff like that will really help you start to chip away at that backlog instead of only playing for a couple hours on the weekends. But if that's all you can do, then that's all you can do, and make goals for the weekend. Like I said earlier, I like to make a game out of my backlog, and I think doing that can, really make the experience fun. So I will tell you guys what I do, and then I can give you guys some suggestions. So I wanted to theme each year and see how many games within the theme I can beat in that year. So my theme this year is RPGs. I wanted to see how many RPGs I could beat in 1 year. And I've beaten other games that aren't RPGs, like High on Life and Redfall, but I have beaten way more RPGs than I've beaten non-RPGs. So I beat in like Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. I beat Mario plus Rabbids, the space one. I don't remember the name of it. You know what? I'll actually pull up the list on my phone. I have my phone right here. Year of RPGs. Yep, Year of RPGs. I started this November 1st, 2022, and I'm going to go until November 1st, 2023. So I got a couple months left. Beaten Pokemon Scarlet, 50 hours. Pokemon Violet, 30 hours. Marvel Midnight Suns, 30 hours on the PS5. Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Switch, 13 hours and 30 minutes. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, 20 hours. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch, 90 hours. So those are the games I've beaten so far. The non-RPG list is High on Life at PC Game Pass. I beat after 10 hours. Portal RTX PC 4 hours. New Super Mario Bros. On the DS at 2 hours, and Redfall on Game Pass for 12 hours. So and for me, this is fun. And if it doesn't sound fun for you, then you shouldn't feel compelled to do it. But for me, I also want to make a video about the year of RPGs that I've played and beaten, and like what I achieved during the year, and each year go through how I tackled my backlog and do a big video on it. So anyways, and then I have like a list of what I'm currently playing. So if a new game comes out and I'm interested in picking it up, I can go and see what I'm playing, or maybe I forgot about a game because I started a different game up. And then this way I can keep track of what I'm doing. So like under playing, I have Street Fighter 6 on PS5. I put Fallout 4 on hiatus until Kakarot's done, but I'm pretty much done with Fallout 4. I just want to find a couple of the maps and potentially get the bobbleheads. Get the rest of the bobbleheads. So that's what I'm doing there. I 100%ed both Fallout 4 DLCs, so I'm just on the main map doing the final stuff. I was gonna do every side quest, but I was like, nah, I don't think so. Next, we got Kakarot. Like I just said, that's where we're gonna start up. I was playing Pokken Deluxe. I forgot about this. Playing through the story mode. I can finish that at any time. The story mode's super quick on that game, so I'm not too stressed. I've been playing Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 on my PS4. I have my PS4 hooked up right by my PC, so while videos are rendering and stuff, I just play Pac-Man. And then I've been playing Mario 3D Land on my 3DS. I also had a list of games I've tried this year, but I didn't play a significant amount of. And that way I can give my opinions and know to look for physical copies out in the wild that I liked. So I played some PC Game Pass stuff this year. And I got a game for Christmas last year that I hated. So it's a good way to keep like notes on stuff. And then I have a list of the RPGs in my collection. And then this sounds like a lot of work, but to me it's fun. It's a way for me to gamify the whole process. I created a list of every game in my game app because I catalog and I bumped the microphone. I catalog and I put everything in a video game collector app, and that's how I keep track of prices and what I have and stuff like that. But I also will let you see like genre, company that made it, etc. And I put all the RPGs from the app into a randomizer wheel. So after I beat Kakarot and I finish up Fallout 4, the goal is to start using the randomizer wheel to randomize what RPG I'm going to play next. And to me, that's fun because it's a way to just randomize the whole process, and you never know what you're going to play. And you can't sit there and have the problem that occurs when because like when you have so many games, it's hard to pick one. So you can just sit there and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to pick. Maybe I'll pick this. Oh, wait, this game has better reviews, so I might pick this. But this way, you don't get a choice. You can randomize it, and it'll make your experience different and fun every time. And you just be like, okay, this is what the wheel said. Let's try it out. And then you can play it, and if you hate it, take it off the wheel. Don't play the game again, and at least you tried it and did what the wheel said. And you can take it off. But that's what I'm going to do, is just use a randomizer wheel to pick my game for me. And these are all ways that I gamify my backlog. So, for instance, if you have a collection of Nintendo games and you're like, I really want to beat all my NES games this year, or as many as I can, then okay, put all the NES games you haven't beaten into a randomizer wheel and just start spinning it and see what you get and beating those games it lands on. And then that way, you don't have to, you know, sit around and think about what game you should be playing, or maybe you should be playing a different game. The wheel picked for you. And there's all different kinds of things you can do, You could gamify it in different ways. You can say, I want to only play fighting games this year, or I only want to play games made by Capcom this year, or I only want to play specifically original Xbox games this year. And you can pretty much do anything. You could say, I want to only play Nintendo. I only want to play specifically Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Like, you can really gamify it in any way, shape, or form and make it something, you can have fun doing. And I think that that's kind of a cool thing about the hobby is, you can gamify even your backlog. Your backlog can be a game. So that's what I would recommend if you're kind of struggling and you're like, I don't know, this is kind of boring and I have a lot of issue picking the next game I'm going to play. Well, then do that and just gamify it in a certain way. Use a randomizer, or, just say, I'm going to only beat this thing, and then, put your mind to it. But as long as you're having fun, and if you're not having fun, don't force yourself to do it. Find some other way to do it. So that's one of my goals with how to deal about, with your backlog. Another thing is that's kind of obvious that a lot of people talk about, but I'm going to say it too. Stop buying games. Stop buying games, man. We all do it. Stop doing it. I got to stop doing it. And I've really worked on it, but even though I'm saving money and I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I can't buy too many games. I really got to work on clearing that backlog down, and I want to beat a certain amount of games before I buy more games and stuff like that. I watch a lot of video essays, and I watched one about Elix, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then me and my fiance were out, and I saw Elix on the shelf at a retro store, like a DVD store, and it was $5, and I was like, okay. Like, I heard pretty good reviews, and they're like, if you can get it for cheap, like, it's really worth it if you can get it for cheap. $5 to me is about as cheap as it's gonna get without robbing them. So I was like, whatever, I'll get it for $5. But even that, I was like, I'm gonna work on my backlog, I'm gonna do it. We're all guilty of it, but just try to do the best you can. That collector mindset of constantly trying to get new games to experience and play and having the next cool video game experience. It's addictive for sure, and in a good way, but it's also got to be something you can be able to manage. Like, it's addictive in a good way where it's fun. The hunt itself is fun. Going out and finding video games and looking for stuff is fun, but sometimes you just got to reel it back. And if your concern is, I really want to get this backlog number down, you really got to reel it back and not buy too many video games. And buying video games can be addictive in a bad way too. I've been like, buying games when I shouldn't, and I had to pull it back. And then I pull it back, and by pulling it back, you just focus on the games you have, and that, will just naturally reduce your backlog. But just stop buying games. Stop. We all do it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't do it. I buy games when I shouldn't. Like, in terms of, I'm trying to clear my backlog. I sat there, I just beat 2 games. Now I bought 1. Therefore, the number I have goes up and the amount I've beaten goes down, because like percentage wise. So it's just like, you can't be just doing that. You got to chill out with buying the games. But like I said, and I've repeated multiple times, we all do it. So don't sit here and be like, not you guys specifically, but don't be like, well, you buy games. Like, yeah, we all buy games. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't buy it. I do it too. We all do it, man. But just not doing it and not trying, just giving into that collector mentality as little as possible, if that's your goal, is important. So anyways, I feel like I stretched that long enough. I wasn't trying to, but I just really wanted to nail home, stop buying games. Because even for myself, like, I'm nailing it home for myself too, or hitting it home, whatever. That I'm struggling with words today, guys. Anyways, next is focus on one game at a time. I think this is important, and I break this rule all the time, and now I'm in a predicament where I put 2 games on hiatus to beat 2 other games, and it can get confusing. Luckily for me, like, I had a plan when I was doing it, and I kind of knew I was going to do this, but I was playing Fallout 4. I got to a point in Fallout 4, a good jumping off point. I remember the story and everything in Fallout 4. I remember where I was. I know what I was doing. And I played Fallout 4 a million times to where I can pause the controls at any time. Like I'll go back and the controls are just natural. But I put that game on hiatus because I was getting sick of it. I had spent 150 hours in it and I needed a break. So I started playing Kakarot. And I got probably 5 hours into Kakarot, and then Jedi Survivor came out. And I was like, well, I gotta play Jedi Survivor. It's the new Star Wars RPG. I gotta play it. So I put Kakarot on hiatus and beat Survivor, and then Zelda came out, and I beat Zelda. And now haven't played Kakarot in probably 4 or 5 months, and I don't remember any of the controls. And I'm not too worried about it. It's more of like a fighting game, and I know it's like a fighting game RPG hybrid, and I know the story of Dragon Ball like by heart, so I'm not super concerned by it. But if it was something else, like if I was playing Mass Effect, I would have been completely screwed. So, it's important to stick to one game at a time. I think the big leeway here is if you're playing like I'm playing Street Fighter 6, Kakarot, and Fortnite all at once, and we're gonna get into that later. But Fortnite doesn't really have a story. You just hop in and play a couple rounds, hop out. Street Fighter 6, you just hop in, do some matches, hop out. So those are really, I'm playing the World Tour mode here and there, but only for a couple hours at a time. I'm not really pressed about the World Tour mode. When it comes to, what am I thinking? When it comes to Kakarot and stuff like that, like that's a story game with controls you need to memorize. You need to be able to remember those controls, and I put myself at it like behind in terms of playing that game and having to relearn it because I was fooling around with Survivor and all that stuff and Zelda. So I don't regret it, but I'm just saying, like, if that's a concern and you want to try to fire through games as fast as possible, focus on one single player story game at a time. But my next point, even to kind of go against what I also just said, is don't play too much or too many live service games at the same time as your backlog games. Now, for me, I'm not a big social gamer. I used to be when I was younger. I'm not very much anymore. Nowadays I play Street Fighter 6 with my friends. I play Fortnite kind of by myself, and I don't really talk when I game very often. But if you're a big social gamer, the issue with the live service games is you might have a game that a group of friends that like to play League of Legends, and you might have a group of friends that like to play Fortnite, and a group of friends that like to play COD Warzone. Now, if you want to hang out and spend time with all of them, then you're not going to play your single player game at all. But maybe you're like, look, I'll play Fortnite with you guys for a couple hours, and then I'm going to hop off and just relax by myself. There's nothing wrong with having to do that. There's nothing wrong with, needing alone time. So I would, recommend just keeping the live service stuff to a minimum. I play Fortnite for a couple hours a week, and that's normally enough to do all my missions, my dailies throughout the week, and my weekly missions. Like, I don't really have to do that much. But if there's nothing coming out, I'll play Fortnite all week. So it's just one of those things. Like, if you're not too concerned about it, who cares? Play 40 hours of Fortnite a week. But if you do care, then don't do that and split it up amongst your other games. Just, I would recommend having like one live service game, maybe two that you play here and there, and your single player game to kind of mix it up. But that's, just try to limit that as much as possible. Next is like the definition, the next, it's really the final thing, not really just the next thing, but the next and final thing is completing a game differs per person. And what I mean by that is if your goal is clearing your backlog, well, what do you mean? So, like, are you going to try every game? Are you going to beat every game? Are you going to 100% every game? To me, completing my backlog is beating games. But I also would define it as trying out games. So, for instance, I tried out Kakarot. I got it as a gift. I tried it out and I like it, and now I'm going to beat it. And I'll do side quests as much as I feel like it, but to me, like, completing a game doesn't necessarily mean 100%ing it. It just means doing everything you want to do that's extra and the main story. And then if I'm playing a game, if I'm trying out a game, like for instance, if I tried Kakarot and I hated it, I would mark it as beaten, but I'm done. Like if I hate it, I'm not going to force myself to beat it just because I own it. So I've done that with other games like Monster Crown. I played that game and it sucked. I hated it. And, you know, I marked it as beaten because I'm never going to play it again. To me, it's beaten. I played it as much as I could, determined I hated it. I did not like it, and it's gone. I'm not going to play it anymore. But, you know, so that's, people have different definitions. You know, if somebody's going to buy a game and if they hate it, to them, completing a game on the backlog is 100%ing it. They're going to 100% the game they hate because of the principle of it. It's just different per person. But I personally recommend just beating a game and playing it, everything you feel like doing. Like, you know, if you want to do all the side quests and then eventually you're like, I don't really like the side quests, I just want to do the main story, then do that. Do that. If that's your definition of beating the game, beat the game that way. Do it that way. You know, just do whatever you like and don't let, you know, 100%, you know, like completionist people get to you or anything like that. Just play it until you feel like you've gotten your, you know, your time worth, or, you know, you feel like this is all you can stand even. So that's my recommendation there. You know, I tried to one time play Need for Speed on the GBA, and it was one of the worst GBA games I've ever played. I wouldn't say it is the worst. I've played some pretty bad ones, but it's one of the worst ones. And I was like, I'm going to beat this game because I own it. And I played it for like an hour, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. The driving's awful. I'm crashing every 5 seconds. Like, I can barely see what I'm doing. I can't beat this game. I can't force myself to. And so I was like, whatever, I'll just mark this as beat and put it in the GBA bin. Like, yeah, I'm not going to force myself to do this and spend time that I should be having fun hating something because of the principle. So that's my recommendation. Do whatever you guys feel like doing. You know, clearing your backlog should be something that's fun, should be a process that feels good, you know. And when you achieve those goals regarding your backlog, it should be something that you look back at positively, not something that was like a job or strain or anything like that, you know, because the whole point of collecting video games and playing them and stuff like that is supposed to be fun. So, you know, and if you're one of those people that let the backlog bother you, I understand. Like, I have a thing where if I know I want to do these other things and I'm in the process of one thing, like, I'll get completely tied up. Like, I'll just completely freeze myself, put myself in like a you know, like a brain free. I don't know what to do. Like, and it'll bother me. It'll eat away at me. Like, oh, you know, I gotta complete these mission locations in Fallout 4. Like, it'll really bother me. So I get it. I understand, but I also can't let it get to me too much, or else it'll become a chore, and then I'll end up hating the hobby. You know. So don't let your backlog make you hate collecting video games. Let it make you want to collect more, and let it, you know, motivate you to beat what you had, because there's some serious experiences that you're not experiencing that are on your backlog. But, you know, don't stress yourself out about it. Just get to it when you can and have fun doing it. But these tips should help you do it a little faster, and should teach you like how to have, not even teach you, but should inform you of how to make it more fun for yourself, or how to just, you know, make it not as stressful. It's just one of those things where people have differing opinions about it. I watched a video where this guy beat like 200 games or 100 games in a year or something. And it's just like, you know, it's awesome for him, and that's how he enjoys games, and he has time to do that. That's good for him, but I don't. And that wouldn't be fun for me. And so it's different for everybody. And don't, you know, just do it at your own pace and have fun with it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. We're close to the 30 minutes. I almost got there. I'm not going to stretch it out. If we end at 30, we end at 30. But I was thinking about it. I know all you guys listening are probably like, oh, this guy's going to stretch it out to 30 minutes. He mentioned it at the beginning. I want to. I really want to. Get that algorithm points, baby. No, but yeah, you know, I hope that these tips helped you with the backlog. If you guys have anything you want me to talk about regarding the backlog, let me know, and I will try to talk about it. Next week's topic, I don't know what it's going to be. I was thinking about talking about things that bother me when collecting, like my pet peeves and stuff, like stickers and everything, but we'll see. That I want to cover some general game collecting topics that I haven't just talked about yet. It's all been a lot of announcement videos that I've done. So, like, video game announcement things. But anyways, thank you guys for watching another episode of Pixel Patrol. please check out the second channel if you get a chance. And I appreciate all you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.